Cody Alexander match quarters. One of the surprise victories last year was in week one when the Lions defeated the Chiefs. Now, one reason why it was so distinct was because Aaron Glenn, up until that point, was a very much a middle of the field closed defensive coach, mainly relying on cover one. What he did against the Chiefs is he threw him a curveball and started running quarters. One example of this, and I wrote about this on match quarters, was the way that he used stubby or special when the Chiefs went 3-by-1. But we get a really good example of how quarters reacts to a mesh concept from the Chiefs from the Lions, which is what we're going to break down. This is a great example of how mesh should be handled with quarters. It also illustrates how communication at the second level of the defense, really the intermediate defenders, are going to work. This is something that you can drill as well. So, and I've highlighted this, and I'll make sure to link this in the video. You're going to have three intermediate defenders. You're going to have three interior receivers. Now, this is what I call a three-man weave. You can get almost any kind of shallow route. We can get this mesh. We can send the running back this way. You can get any kind of combination you want out of this. And what you're going to end up doing with these three defenders is that you're going to play a 3-on-3 game, and they're going to communicate. We don't want to chase. This is not man match quarters. We're not trying to chase guys across. So what we're going to get from the Chiefs is we are going to get a push by the back. We're going to get a mesh route, and we're going to get a sit route. So instead of a dig, this can also be run at a dig. That's typically what you're going to see at the high school level. They're going to make that go vertical, college level as well. You're going to get the true air raid shallow. We're just going to get a sit route or over the ball OTB route here. And then we're going to end up getting just vertical pushing routes outside. Now, I'm going to show you how the intermediate's going to work, but also highlights how the safety's eyes need to make sure that they work and how they are going to interact in a quarters defense. So we are running quarters. The Lions are running quarters. We're going to get a kind of a shallow mesh concept here by the Chiefs. So they're going to bring, the Chiefs typically like to do these short motions. They're going to bring the receiver in. He's going to end up running underneath. So we're going to end up getting this mesh concept here. Once he goes underneath and that safety clearly sees that it's underneath, he's going to snap his vision point over to the number one receiver. Then what we're going to get with the corners, he's going to work vertically, and then the safety is going to kind of squat on the hash. What we're creating really right here is kind of like if you've ever bowled, you're with the bumpers on, you're creating bumpers. So if he goes out, the corner's going to get him. If he works to the post, the safety is going to pick him up, and then the corner will work for help, or the safety will work for help, depending on what we get. Now, the mesh concept is where the communication piece comes in. The mic essentially needs to just sit in the middle and let everything play out. Once he sees that the running back is going to work this way, he knows that we're going to get a push by the outside linebacker. So he needs to snap his eyes this way to see what he's getting coming back. So he knows that we're getting an under. So you can see the linebacker has his eyes here. He sees that this is a low route. So he's going to match the depth of that receiver. This is a good look at it right here. So you can see here, he's going to see that it's open. He's going to open up. He's going to see, gets the under call. He's going to open up and look back. He's going to then match the depth. So this is a nice look at how this works. He's going to match the depth. We're getting the push to the back here. And then the nickel is going to deliver to the mic, see that he's getting a mesh route, plant, and then drive to try and kind of cut that thing off. So what we have really is this really nice three-man weave concept on the bottom. You can see that everybody right here is covered up. Now let's talk about the safeties really quickly before we go through the whole play. Now on the front side, we're going to get kind of this vertical stem. One of the things that you have to be careful of is not to just go ahead and release this and then just start kicking to the numbers. You want to make sure that this isn't one of those stair-step routes. Modern offenses love a stair-step route because if you don't teach the safeties correctly, that safety is going to come off, and then now you have free access to the middle of the field because the safety isn't always going to buy back into the post. The safety here does a really good job of what I call stair-step. So as he goes under, he's going to stair-step, stair-step. He's going to climb with that. If that thing ends up just kind of sitting down in the middle, then he's going to then close the post. The offense actually brought him to where he needs to be. He needs to close post to post. That's where he's going to be. The corner over here is essentially going to be man-to-man. The field corner, especially away from the passing strength, is going to be man-to-man, because what this ends up being is you can see that we have 4 receivers all heading to the passing strength. Now, he's going to come back, but at one point, when he ends up sitting in that OTB route, we have 4 receivers on one side of the ball. He's going to be locked up. He's going to be taken care of. We have our double over here on this side, and then we have our safety who's going to cap any kind of vertical route. And what we get in the middle of the field really is a nice little sandwich by the Mike and the over-the-ball safety. So now you can see that we have the Mike underneath. We have the over-the-ball safety in case this wants to be some sort of a sit-down shoot route, which we see a lot of times in the open field. You can see that the nickel is now cutting this receiver off. We have the running back taken care of over here. We are now in man-to-man down here, and then we are doubling outside and inside, creating a vice on this receiver. So there's really nowhere for Mahomes to go. He's looking in the middle of the field. He's waiting for this, but the mic never comes off. This is a great example of how this works. So Mahomes is going to end up taking off, and he's going to end up scrambling. A great example from start to finish of how quarters works, how the safety mechanics are going to work, and then also that 3-man weave on the bottom. So right here, we're going to get a push alert. Any kind of in motion like this, we're probably going to go across. So I'm going shallow alert to let that mic know. The mic is going to pop vertical. He sees that we're getting a push. He delivers it to the mic. He's going to give an under route, under call. He's going to push. Mike continues to climb. He gets his eyes snapped back to the number 2 side. We're getting an under. So the Mike right now has a double under. He's getting an under by the nickel. He's getting an under by that. He knows that now we're probably going to get some sort of a mesh route. That's exactly what we get here. Though the receiver goes vertically kind of to give the illusion of climb. That's why we want that safety to go over here. He's going to end up sitting down on the OTB route. The nickel does a good job, again, of delivering it back, getting his eyes to the shallow, cutting that shallow off. There's nowhere for the quarterback to go. He ends up having to scramble. Great example of quarters versus kind of a shallow mesh concept from the Chiefs.